Hi there, I'm Isa Tan. Welcome to another edition of Asian Agribiz Podcast. Today, my colleague Rajeswari Ramani will be speaking to Elanco's Senior Technical Consultant for Swine, Dr. Roselle Cudal, about how animal husbandry best practices in Asia could be enhanced further with better training and management systems.
Hello, Dr. Rose. Welcome again to our Asian Agribiz podcast. Today, I would like to get your expert opinion on how new animal husbandry best practices has revolutionized the way we raise livestock for food. I would like to start with what are some of the animal husbandry diagnostic skills needed to be upgraded in the Asian context?
Thank you, Rush, for having me again in your podcast. Upgrading in terms of animal husbandry skills, the farms in Asia are already advanced in facilities and implementing the latest technologies, so the needed skills are acquired by our new pig farm workers because they also provide mentoring or trainings. In fact, our farm workers, including veterinarians, are often recruited to work in other regions of the world, proof of the high level of skills that they get as they work and get trained in Asian farms. The second part of your question is diagnostics, and we can split that into two: clinical observation and laboratory confirmation. Veterinarians are trained to recognize swine diseases based on established disease information and their clinical manifestations. What is often lacking is the laboratory part. Not all farm operations have their own diagnostic laboratories, so most commercial farms rely on private third-party labs, and often the small-scale farmers will utilize government-supported laboratories.
And following up with that response, how do these expertise, skills, and access to diagnostic methods compare between official authorities and private companies? Do they need to work closely together?
Expertise and skills can be improved on. Private companies have the advantage of being able to update their personnel at a faster pace, including access to the latest diagnostic methods. On the other side, there are many assistance programs and funding now available for government labs, and they have been building their capabilities to provide the latest tests as well. And yes, they need to work together. Harmonization of methodologies is needed so results are comparable, and the data from both private and public laboratories need to be consolidated so it can benefit the livestock industry.
So, what are some of the new technologies or management SOPs that animal husbandry sector needs right now?
Management is key in ensuring that our pigs grow well. An example are investments in facilities because the advancements in housing and climate control that become available, all of these help in ensuring that we are able to manage our pigs well and that we maximize the genetic and growth potential of the pigs that we take care of. Also impacted with improvements in facilities will be biosecurity, both internal and external. Not new technology, but also not applied widely in farms in Asia, is the all-in all-out and the concurrent implementation of the batch management system. This calls for veterinarians who can provide guidance in using reproductive hormones and are consulted on practical approaches in implementing the said systems.
Can you explain a little bit more about the all in, all out and the batch system, please?
The all-in, all-out system was a concept developed in the 1970s and 1980s when there came the phased swine production system. The phase system, as we know, separates the operations into the reproductive or the breeder phase that will be breeding to lactation, a separate pre-weaning phase or the nursery, and a production phase or the growing finishing. Usually, the piglets are weaned as a group and transported from the sow farms all into the nursery. Then they exit the nursery as a group, all out, and then also move all in into the grower finishing phase. Finally, the pigs leave the production phase as a group, all out, going to slaughter. But problems can occur when output and spaces do not match. So several sow farms and several ages of production may need to fill up a big nursery house. To be able to meet the ideal of one source, one age, batch management can be done. Here, sows are batch bred so they can batch farrow within a 2 to 3 day period, and therefore their piglets can be moved all in, all out, and in volumes enough to fill a matched unit in the nursery and or grower finisher houses. Implementing the all-in all-out system coupled with batch management system has several advantages. But perhaps the most important among them is it helps reduce disease transmission. By nature, it is a critical component of effective biosecurity because it promotes segregation among ages.
Let's go on to the question of what kind of investments stakeholders need to make in these talents or management systems, and also who are the stakeholders? Are they companies, universities, training centers, or even government departments?
When new workers come into the farm, whether they are veterinarians, animal husbandry professionals, or having other backgrounds but chose to work in a swine farm, they all need training. What they learned in school are good bases, but the real world is far more complex and they need time to understand. Some farm operations have on the job trainings and mentorship programs, and this is a good opportunity for new hires. There are also training institutions that provide swine specific programs. Many animal health companies also provide support in training. For example, in our company, we have the Elanco Pig Academy. We have 20 plus modules. This training program has been provided to the Elanco swine technical consultants, and they localize them and adjust to the training need, and they administer the trainings to farms in need of such assistance.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the content of these modules on how to train people specifically to take care of pigs or even like a disease management? Because right now we are facing the African swine fever.
The module topics range from specific management practices, examples, guilt management, farrowing, and even piglet management, up to the grower finisher management phase, and even cover common farm problems or diseases with their corresponding updated treatment and control approaches. Example would be fly control or how to take care of PRDC. And even we have our new modules on animal welfare, which covers topics like pig handling and how to do proper transportation. It is a full course of training that can help farms train new and even update older farm personnel.
Okay, how could diagnostic suppliers or labs collaborate to upgrade livestock husbandry as well?
Definitely, diagnosis is a tool for veterinarians and farmers. Without a good diagnosis, we don't have good basis for applying medications and doing disease control programs. Diagnostic laboratories can collaborate by sharing data and reporting it to stakeholders, and even government can do this to guide industry.
Great. Now we come to our last question. Which husbandry practice needs immediate skills? Are they in the feed, disease diagnostics, or even in the management areas?
You mentioned three, so let me do that one by one, in increasing order of importance. First, disease diagnostics is needed. We need to ensure we build on the clinical observations done by the veterinarians at the farm, and we need to support it with laboratory confirmation. Second, feed. We are aware that it can be a source of diseases, yes, and yet nutrients are essential for healthy animals. However, we usually give this responsibility to experts in nutrition, And it is the feeding practice that we need to focus on in the farm. We ensure fresh supply, ensure good feed intake, and even try to lower feed wastage. Most important, management is key. Most problems will have both the cause and the solution in management approaches. So training and understanding farm SOPs are important. But our veterinarians and farm workers must also have the heart as well for taking care of pigs.
Great. Thank you for agreeing to this podcast interview today, Dr. Rose, on how we can look at upgrading our animal husbandry practices in an era of fast moving technology where adaptation and training is key to good management practices.
Thank you, Rush, and hope my insights help.
We hope you gained practical inputs about how to care for your animals better in this podcast. We strive to give you the latest updates in the animal protein industry so you can profit better, health and wealth-wise for your animals. This is Isa signing off for Asian Agribiz.